Hi, everyone. This is the Climb and Flow podcast. This is the 37th episode, and today's guest is none other than Laura Pineau, or otherwise known as Laura Pineau. So, Laura came onto the climbing scene last year. So, Laura enjoys crack and speed. I'm not talking about the drugs, I'm talking about crack climbing and speed climbing. She's had an incredible journey into climbing. She's progressed so quickly from starting climbing to what she's achieved over the last few years. Had a really, really nice chat with her. She's very open about her climbing. She's very open about some of the things that she struggles with. So, some of the topics that we delved into more so were relationship and the importance of a good relationship between yourself and the belayer and how that can really help with projecting some hard stuff or stuff where you might experience high levels of fear. We also talked about fear and the fear of falling and how the fear of falling affects Laura and still does, and what she kind of does to help herself with it. And we talk about her try hard mentality, why she loves it, and what it's like for her. We'll let you listen to the episode. Hope you enjoy.
Hey, how you doing, Kevin?
Yeah, good, thanks. Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm good. How's
Yeah,
your day so far?
it's really hot here.
Oh yeah, I've heard, huh? Peak
Yeah,
heat right now in Europe.
yeah. I mean, it's the hottest day in the UK. Hottest day
Mm.
recorded in June ever.
Oh
36.
wow.
I mean, 36 degrees in the UK. It's pretty hot, but like when it comes to other countries, it's just normal.
Yeah. Where are you
Yeah.
located in the UK?
Not too far from Bristol.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. Lots of, are you close to the Peak District
I guess
or not?
2 hour drive. It's not too far.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you
Okay,
been to the
okay.
UK before?
Amazing. I have, but not for climbing.
Okay. Okay.
Just for traveling around London and other places. But I'm gonna go to the Candle Film Festival in November, so I'll be traveling another time. Is it close to where you live, maybe, Candle?
It's about
Oh
four
no, it's far,
hours.
far away.
Yeah, it's four
Yeah, a
hours
bit more
north from
north.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're in
I don't know
Brazil?
how I'm gonna get a candle, but it's gonna be an adventure from the south of France.
Yeah, I guess so. So you're in Brazil at the moment.
I'm in Brazil, yeah, for a climbing trip, and I want to climb this new big wall. So that's the main goal of the summer.
Okay, cool. That's exciting. So any I guess what big wall is it? Can we know anything about it, or do you want to keep it to yourself?
Yeah. Are we starting to record right now?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it
So
already on
after
or no?
yeah, so
Okay,
I
okay, just so I know. No worries. I thought we are
okay.
doing a little introduction or something, just so I know.
I mean we can do an introduction if you like, Laura. Um I think I don't know when it comes to asking people questions, I guess you've probably done a few podcasts, and I guess people ask you the same questions, and maybe it gets a little bit dull to have to repeat the same things again. Like, I guess we can start. Having done some research on you, I think you started deep water soloing. You then moved to, is that right? You moved to indoor climbing, bouldering, and then went into sport and trad. You started climbing at 17. You're now 25. And like,
26. My God, getting older.
well, yeah, wow. So what are you saying about me? Yeah, well, I've got a few years on you, Laura. So your move from 17 to now 25, that's 8 years. You've gone from I guess you've gone from zero to hero in a really short amount of time.
Uh, I don't know if I've ever heard someone zero to hero, but it's been a process. It's been a process, and I think since the first moment I started climbing, there was a huge, huge passion for me. It was very clear since the first moment, and for the past 9 years, I've been climbing 4 to 5 times a week, and I've been just extremely dedicated to the sport, extremely psyched, and really into learning new skills in general. And I think that's what, after all the bouldering and sport climbing I've done, I really got psyched into track climbing because I've only been track climbing for the past 3 years now. And it felt like I was again a beginner, in a sport that I love so much. And I really, love learning new skills. And that's why I also got into big wall. I love to climb with new climbers who have different skill sets than mine and that know so much more about,
Yeah.
a part of our sport that I don't know, and to learn from them. So I think that's how I've gained a lot of different skills and maybe gotten better at, crowd climbing, big walls and all of that, because I really surround myself with people who know more and I learn as much as I can from those climbers.
Yeah, okay, because I think you sound like the kind of person that is very open to learning and likes to learn.
Yes, very much, very much. And I love to share too as well. Sometimes it's really amazing to give back. And I think maybe this year is a little bit of a transition year for me because in September in France, I'm gonna start a full 1 year course to become an outdoor rock climbing instructor. So in France, it's a pretty serious and intense 1 year training to do that, but then you can teach climbing all over the world and have different types of clients, and you can teach track climbing, big walls, multi-pitch, and they really teach us a lot of, like, big wall rescue skills and like how to help someone who's injured above you, under you, and all of that. And I think that's something that was maybe a little missing in my climbing
Yeah,
too. And I'm
yeah.
really excited for this too as well, to be able to, share this passion. And hopefully, a goal of mine is to bring more women outdoors, give them more confidence, and hopefully get them into track climbing as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So on a mission to get more women outside.
That's
Yeah,
the goal. Hopefully, we're going to do this.
cool. But I mean, your transition from, I guess, from climbing trad for 3 years and doing the stuff that you've done, like doing the Triple Crown with Kate last year, climbing, what is it, Green Spit and Butterfly Circus and Wet Lycra. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that trad climbers work a lifetime towards and might not even get
Yeah.
there. So what do you feel? I guess what was your learning journey like, and how come you moved on so quickly?
Yeah, I think I'm someone who I don't really choose projects because of the grade or because if, woman has done it or not, which sometimes, that can get me motivated as well. But I really choose projects that truly inspire me. And for instance, for Green Speed, I had met Babsy the year before, and she knew how much I love crack climbing and climbing splitters and climbing in Yosemite. And she's the one who told me, hey, I think you would love climbing green spits, So I went to check it out the first time. It truly felt impossible. It was not the right conditions because I tried it in June. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Let's maybe give this a really good go for 1 month and a half in September, October. Let's try to see if I can really push my limits on a grade and on a climb that I thought was truly beautiful. So every project I'm choosing, it's because I'm really inspired by it and I'm really motivated by it. And I think when those projects takes weeks or months to do, if you really know the real reason why you're doing it and you're inspired enough, then that really helps you to stay motivated to train hard for them. And I would say I'm not the best like on-sider climber, for instance, because I'm a climber who's extremely scared. Like I'm a very scared climber. I battle a lot of fears of falling. Like every time I haven't climbed on rope, I have to always like practice falling again. I need to have a belayer I'm really trusting, otherwise it's not working well for me. So,
Yeah,
there's a lot of that. And I'm trying to share more of that with other climbers to not show them, hey, for Laura, everything's easy. She's trying all those hard routes and she's never scared. Everything's fine, when it's not at all the reality. So I'm really trying to show this side of myself that it's really a big part of my life.
yeah,
But I'm a really, I think, good projector, like projecting climbers. Like I can really stay stacked on the same goal for a long time, train for a long time for something. And when it's time to handle the pressure and really send the pitches that matter, that's when I really perform really well because I know the moves, I know I can do it, and I can just refocus when it's time to focus too. So I think that's where really my strength is at. And so I've really embraced this. And I really also like love to choose projects where not a lot of people are interested because I don't like, paved ways. I don't like crags where there's like hundreds of climbers and you need to wait in line to try a climb. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I hate those places, because I love
yeah,
to be in nature. I love to be with a partner. I love to hear birds around me and enjoy nature and enjoy projects that not a lot of people go to. And I think maybe that's what has led me to projects like Green Speed or the Triple Crown. No woman had I mean, there's some women that have trained for it, but like very little and very little women in 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 Yosemite that got into speed climbing. And me meeting Kate was the real reason why I got into this. And I've always wanted to climb with her. And I was like, oh, this could be a cool project. And when she told me, hey, no women have done this, but I know we can do it, I was like, wow, that seems like an amazing project and something I would truly want to do in a place that has given me so much and inspired me so much. And I'm like, oh, I think we could inspire a lot of women by doing this too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's why I chose those types of atypical projects.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think you're that's I think Kate is very infectious. Her energy is very infectious.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
she
yeah.
is. She
She
has the best. I think she's the person who makes me laugh the most in the entire world. She has the best sense of humor and such a contagious, like, zest for life and amazing energy that I love spending time like with her so, so much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I guess that's quite necessary when you go and do something like the Triple Crown and train for it, where you're spending a lot of time in each other's space, like psyched and even tired and scared. And I guess knowing that somebody that is gonna have your back and be a nice person to hang out with. Yeah,
Yeah, I think exactly. And so the Triple Crown was Kate's dreams for
yeah,
years, and she had done El Capitan and Half Dome with a friend of hers, Miles. But then Miles did the triple with another guy because I think he also thought maybe Kate would not be fast enough to do the triple, and so Kate was in front of the triple with no partners, and she was just desperate to find someone. I think she really wanted to do it with another woman, but
yeah,
she really wanted someone that would be goofy with her, that would laugh with her and have a good time because I think she entirely knew that it would take months of training. It would be long hours on the wall. It would be difficult moments. And she wanted someone that she could dance to crazy music, with, and that someone who would laugh to her crazy jokes all the time. And I think the first time we climbed together, she saw that I would have a light heart with her. I would laugh with her. And even though, when we start climbing, I'm really serious about it and I take it seriously, I don't take myself seriously. And I was more than happy to wear, those colorful leggings and wear crowns on the helmets and do all those stuffs. And I think in the movie The Queen Swing, that's really one thing we really showed is that even though we're doing, huge performance and we taking a lot of risk, and that was something very serious, we still had so much fun along the way and had
yeah.
such a great time. And I think when you take big objectives like this with a light heart too, and you bring some fun with it, the journey is so, so much better.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So what were the highs and what were the lows, and how did you? I guess the lows really. How did you guys deal with that? Because a lot, I guess physically and mentally, you guys must have been like super, super tired.
So you mean during the 24 hours that
Yeah, I
we
guess
did
during
it?
the 24 hours, or
Okay.
even during the training. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys must have had some lows.
Yeah, I think we had more lows during the training on moments where, I think we both had those moments where maybe one said something that hurt the other. So Kate and I were really good at communicating. And when something, not maybe right or something that felt off happened, the next day we would always have a debrief about it. And I think that's what made our friendship so special. And, we came with each other with so much transparency and vulnerability and being able to be like, hey, I didn't feel good when you said that here. That made me feel this way. How can we maybe change this next time? Or if next time this happens, let's maybe find a new way to handle this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think
yeah,
all those like really tough conversations we had as a team beforehand made us such an amazing team on the day off because
yeah,
we knew each other so well. We knew how if one would get tired, how to get her side, get her motivated to keep going, how to support her, how to talk to her.
yeah,
And so on the day of, like, on the day of me, I think my lowest point was maybe like slowly falling asleep on Half Dome, the last mountain, because I had a few pitches where we just belay and I would be very static. And that's when, tiredness really hit me in the face and I was slapping myself to stay awake. And as soon as I started climbing again, then this tiredness just like slipped away and I was fine. And then Kate had way more like hands pain and feet pain than me because she climbed some really wide cracks and she had to do more aid climbing, which she was way better at that than me. And I think all the aid climbing, you need to close your hands more, grab the gear. And I think over time during the 24 hours, that hurts your hands way more. When I was maybe doing like way more free climbing because I was better at this on some pitches.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so she was in a lot of pain on the last mountain. And in the movie, she says too that at this point she had given up on the 24 hours. Where me, I never thought, I always thought we were like on track, like we had to stay focused and keep going, but never thought we would make it or not make it. I was like, let's just keep moving and doing our best. But then, I think when both of us climbed Half Dome, we lost track of time. Me, I felt like time stopped. I didn't know if we were going fast enough, slow enough. I couldn't tell anymore. I was just like, let's get through one pitch at a time till the end. And I think it's only 2 hours before the top where we had 5 or 6 pitches left that we knew we could make it under 24 hours. And in this moment, I was the one leading the final pitches. I was like, I'm going to give everything I have to the 6 pitches and we're going to make it under 24 hours. But that's the only time where we knew we could make it. Before that, we were always in a rush of time. We were kind of on track, but couldn't really tell. It's like, are we good? Are we not good? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But we didn't really face a big low moment. I think everything went smoothly. There's just one thing before we climb Half Dome, we forgot a stiffy draw, which was really important for both of us because some bolts were bolted by men and are so far apart. And so for us to clip them, it's so hard. And me, there's one slab move that without a stiffy draw would be really dangerous, on the Pakistani death loop. So I have like 15 meters under me and like doing the slab move with 15 meters would be horrible.
Yeah.
Whereas with a stiffy draw, I just clip it and it's so much easier. So it's, part of all the speed climbing strategies. And we forgot that. And so our friend Jacob Cook made us a homemade stiffy draw with a stick, and then he attached a long sling on it. And he made 2 of it because I told him, what if Kate breaks it? Then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
won't
yeah,
have
yeah,
it for
yeah.
the top and I might lose time there. So he made 2 and we were each on our harness. We each had this stick just hanging around, and me that just like saved me on my pitch because it made me go like much faster and I was perfectly. And when I clipped that bolt, I was like, thank God for Jacob. Thank God he made that because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew I gained a lot of time from doing that. So outside of this little ache, which was the only thing that went wrong, I think Kate lost one number one cam on Half Dome and I saw it like falling from the side and I told Kate, don't worry, I don't need it from the top. Let's just keep going. We don't care about this cam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And at
yeah.
this point, we really didn't need it anymore. So we
Yeah.
were fine. But everything went pretty well, and everything except the 2 storms. It was supposed to be good weather forecast, but it was also a week that the forecast, because it was June,
Yeah.
during the summer in Yosemite, there's a lot of those like late storms, and we had already pushed our starting date 2 times. And we looked the forecast before the weekend, it looked good. On the morning of, I looked at the forecast, I saw 10% chance of rain, but I was like, it keeps changing all the time. We have 20 people in our support crew who are just ready to go. The
Yeah.
food is ready. Everyone's ready. Me and Kate slept well. Everything looks aligned. Let's just go and see what happens. And we had to face those 2 big storms, one on Watkins and one on Half Dome, which was crazy because the rain didn't touch her. It didn't touch us.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it was right there, but it just stayed away enough for us to climb. So even Mother Nature was with us on that day.
Yeah, yeah. So you completely zoned in, just completely on it. Yeah.
Mm.
What was it? Was it Kate that when you guys were on Half Dome, was it Kate that was or was it you that was encouraging Kate about times that one of you was climbing and you weren't actually climbing that quickly, but the other person who's belaying kept saying, yeah, actually you're doing really well. You're climbing the fastest you ever have done.
Oh yeah, no, it's me. It's me who was lying a little bit on the day. So I was doing some maybe like manipulative, positive encouragement. I did that with Kate twice. I did it once during the night on the nose. I could tell she was going slower than usual, but it's not a time you're not going to tell your partner, hey, you slower than usual. And I thought that's not going to help anyone. So I was just, and when we climbed the nose, we were both like really dehydrated by the end because
Yeah.
there was no wind, no air, and we didn't bring enough water. I think we brought 3 liters and a half, which is already a lot, but we had never trained climbing at night, El Cap during the summer because we didn't want to mess up with our sleep schedule. So we just decided to always climb it during the day.
Yeah.
And so on that day, the conditions on El Cap at night were really horrible. It was slippery cracks. And me, I almost finished my water bottle by half of El Cap already. I didn't have any water left. And then Kate still had to climb 3 hours and a half with so little like water left in her water bottle. So for her, I think it was so much harder for her to climb the second half with no
Yeah.
water. And maybe that's when her hands and feet got hurt even more from lack of hydration and water. And I was just trying to be the best partner I could. And I was telling her, hey, girl, like you climbing so well, like you crushing the time. And she was like, really? I feel a bit slower. And I was like, no, 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 you're not. Like, just keep going, like crush this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what you need in this moment. If your partner tells you this, I think it maybe gave us a little bit of like, oh, cool, I'm doing well. Let's
Yeah.
keep
Yeah. Yeah.
going. And
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
she climbed a bit faster because of this. So
Yeah.
this moment, I remember it. And I think that really helped. And so we were just like 20 minutes slower than we expected on the nose, or 25, which is not much. And on Half Dome, like I was the one leading the simul climbing pitches at the beginning of Half Dome, and I could feel like Kate was definitely slower, and I was really like pulling her up
Yeah.
as
Yeah. Yeah.
much as
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
And sometimes I
Yeah.
had to wait because I didn't have enough rope. So I was just pulling her. And then it was her time to get in the chimneys and lead them. And that's the moment where I was like, okay, Kate, like we have 3 hours left. You do 1 hour and a half in the chimneys on your block that you lead. And then I do 1 hour and a half at the top. And I was like, girl, you crushing it. And this time she was the one to pull me in the chimneys because I was much slower. Like I really suck at climbing chimneys and she's amazing. So she was the one to pull me because she was going so fast. And I think in her head, when I told her this, she was like, okay, Kate, it's like she really said to herself, it's my last 4 pitches. I need to give everything left I have in me. And she climbed so amazingly well. And she climbed 30 minutes faster, which is why I had those 2 hours left at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
when it was my time to finally lead those final pitches, I told her, I got this. And I told her, just scream at me every 20 minutes so I know how much time and how fast I'm going. So she was like, okay, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour. So I could keep track of time. And I was like, okay, we're going to make it. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're fine. Just keep a steady pace, like, stay focused. And I remember at the bottom of the final pitch, Kate came and she was like, oh my God, I gotta do it. I was like, okay, hold on, Kate. One more pitch. Like, let's stay focused. Like, one more
Yeah.
pitch. I was like, let's not get excited right now. We need to get to this final anchor. And so she was like, okay, let's stay focused. So, cause me, I'm like, it's not over until it's over, until you clip the chain, it's
Yeah.
never over. And so, this final pitch went really fast too. And then she came and then it was really, really beautiful.
Yeah. 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 I can see the excitement in your eyes when you're telling the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I always feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's crazy, even a year after.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I guess you got to the top and then what? And then you had to get down.
So we got to the top, and it was not the finish we had both expected because we were expecting, 20 people from our support crew, friends, family members. But because of the electricity and the storm, it was just extremely dangerous to be on top of Half Dome at this moment. And
Yeah.
so we only had two climbing friends and our two videographers who came to film us and to help us like come down the cables. And, we celebrated for 2 minutes. And one of them was like, hey, girls, like, just so you know, the electricity right now is so dangerous. At any moment, we could be struck by lightning.
Yeah.
It's time to go down right now because everyone's raiding down there and it's so dangerous. So, we were in a hurry and we stashed all the gear to not have any metal on us, so as little as possible.
Yeah.
And so we left the rope, we left all of our gear, everything we had on us, and then we ran down the cables. And that's when finally we could, relax and like have all of our friends and like hug everyone and have this really, really beautiful moments with them.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
That was
So,
amazing.
so something you mentioned, and I think that's I think really interesting. You had a very with the training, you had a very open communication with Kate, and
Yes.
I think that's as a climbing partnership, it's really important. Do you think, and not trying to ask a leading question, but
Yeah.
Maybe because you're both women, you find it easier to kind of delve into that type of communication. I'm not sure men are as good at it, and I'm generalizing.
What I can say just from my personal experience is I've always had special friendships with women more than men when I climb too. And
Okay.
maybe it's why, I'm looking into more female partnerships for big projects.
Yeah.
Um, but also I've learned, I think all my different like hard climbs and experiences really taught me how me myself to be a better partner. Like for instance, and I think more of us need to do this, especially if you're gonna do a scary multi-pitch or a big wall adventure where you're gonna have like more scary moments and it's gonna be on at some point. So before, like for instance, me, I'm someone when I'm scared, I really need my partner to be quiet. I cannot have someone screaming me instructions or talking to
Yep.
me because when I'm scared, suddenly, I can lose it a little bit, like emotion wise. And I think I need all my focus and all my energy to be focusing on, like, okay, what's next? What's the next move for me? And not have someone talking at me. And
Yep.
before, I would never tell that to my partners. I would just at some point be scared and they would be talking to me and I could be saying, oh, like, shut up or stop talking to me, in a moment of like
Yeah.
really panic. And that happened with Kate, and Kate, when I said that and she didn't know that about me, that was definitely one of our like really difficult moments.
Yeah.
And so now when I'm climbing with someone and I could be going on a sport climb that maybe is going to scare me or like a track climb or multi-pitch, I tell them, hey, you need to know that about me. When I'm going to be scared, just tell me I'm with you once. And then you need to let me be alone in this because there's nothing you can do to help me. Just tell me that
Yep.
you got me once and then don't talk to me. And I
Yep.
think this can, prevent so many communication issues and can prevent a situation where you have to say shut up to your partner or tell them stop talking in the moment because they know that about you. And also, they might forget about it. And sometimes now I'm also better at telling them, hey, just give me a minute here. Like, let me alone. I'm going to figure this out. But
Yep.
it's like in a moment of fear, all your emotions are getting mixed. And so it's hard to have a clear judgment in that moment. And so I think telling your partners what you need as a climber and what you need from your belayer is so important. And maybe we don't do it enough. So me,
Yep.
that's one thing I've been really trying to change. And so the last really hard project I did was climbing 100 multi pitches with my French friend Elsa Ponzo, who's an amazing climber and amazing at multi-pitch. I really told her that on the first day of, and I said, I'm gonna have moments where I could be scared. In those moments, please don't talk to me. And it was great that I told her because she's someone who loves to talk. And when she's scared, she prefers someone to talk to her
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
helps
Yeah.
her like
Okay.
relieve the stress from the
Yeah.
situation. So when she was scared, I was trying to talk to her to help her. But when I was scared, she was not talking to me. And it was hard for her not to say anything because
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
loves
Yeah.
to talk and always be talking.
Yeah.
But then, we avoided any hard moments and we had this conversation early and we were just amazing partners for 43 days and went through a lot of hard times, but then always talked about it. When sometimes I was like, hey, Elsa, I think tonight I need to not talk anymore and just play music on the hike. She was like, I totally understand. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
And I think if I was climbing with another one of my male friends, I would just say the same thing and try to tell them early on, hey, here's what I need from you to be comfortable on the wall. Is it okay with you? And then you, like, what do you need?
Yeah. Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
partner with that. And I
Yeah.
think then you can really create a special, climbing partnership with
Yeah.
your partners. Either it's a man or woman. I think it doesn't matter. And I think if you can say that to each other, you're already building a lot of trust and vulnerability from day one. And I think that can really help whatever's going to happen in the
Yeah, yeah,
future
yeah,
with them.
yeah. But I think some people want the vulnerability part. I think some people find it maybe uncomfortable to be able to say, look, actually, there will be moments I'm
Yeah.
scared because I don't know, talking maybe as a male, and again, I'm generalizing. Maybe
Mm,
we find it harder to say, look, I do
yeah.
experience fear. Um, and
Mm,
I think the point you make about talking to your belayer and kind of saying, look, for me to climb at my best, this is the environment that works for me. And like, if you can do these
mm.
things, that would really help me. And that's a conversation that doesn't happen enough. And I think it's really, really, really important, right? like when I'm
Mm,
like you, when I'm in the zone and I experience fear, I don't want anyone talking to me. Yeah, like
yeah.
you say, I've got and I've had friends talking to me, and I've told friends to f off, and worse
Yeah.
things in the moment because the emotions are all over the place.
Yeah.
And then there are friends that they like the chat. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is, and
Everyone's so different.
it is, but it's trying to find out and spend the time to figure out what it is that makes you tick as a climber. And
Mm. And I
that's
think it's experiences,
yeah,
experiences. Like when you're gonna go climb that route that scares you, you're gonna know exactly does that help you when your partner talks to you, or does
yeah,
that just makes you even more scared?
yeah. But in my experiences, not enough climbers spend that time analyzing themselves to try and figure out what it is
Mm.
that makes them tick better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. And I don't think I've had before, in my first maybe 5 years experience, people telling me, hey, here's what I need from you as a belayer to be comfortable on the wall.
yeah,
And maybe along my way, I met some people who were better at doing this. And I think the whole experience I've had with Kate and the whole communication thing really changed. And I think over the past 2 years, I've had way more climbing experiences with women. And maybe that's what opened my eyes on how like transparency and vulnerability really is,
yeah,
in terms of communication and in terms of partnership,
yeah.
which really changed me on so many levels and made me hopefully, a better partner for the people I climb with. And, by telling them, hey, I'm with you on this, whatever you need, whatever you feel most comfortable with, like I really got you.
And it's nothing personal, right? It's just like, this is what I
No.
like. This is no judgment on how
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah.
things. This is what I
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
And
Mm,
again, I am generalizing again, but I think men just they generally behave differently. Like I think
yeah.
we love making jokes. We love making jokes with each other when in a stressful time, and we don't always
Mm,
talk about what's really going on, which in some
yeah.
situations that works well, but other situations then we're not really talking about it.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting point. So in our movie, The Queen Swing with Kate with the Triple Crown, we interviewed Libby Souter, who was a pretty big climber in Yosemite who did a lot of speed climbing, which is why we interviewed her for the movie. And she's really explaining how when she was climbing with other strong male partners, she was explaining how in the back of her head, she was like, okay, maybe if I'm too scared to do this pitch, my partner is going to go do it and he's
Yeah,
capable
yeah,
of doing it. And I have this backup plan. But
yeah,
she said when she's climbing with women, she knows she needs to handle the 50% of the team. And even though she's scared, she needs to do the pitches that she decided on and she needs to carry that 50% of the team. And I really thought that thing interesting and that theory because I felt exactly the same way when I was
yeah,
climbing with another strong male partners. Maybe when I was scared, I was like, hey, like right now it's not the time. Can you do it? But maybe with other women, I was like, no, I mean, and I've had this experience on Wet Like Nightmare where I went to the top the first time with Kara Herson. She's Herson's sister, and she's an amazing granite climber, one of the best climbers I've seen on granite, climbs
yeah,
amazingly well, is just an amazing human. And so we both went, discovery and adventure mode to the top of Wet Lycra, which is super overhanging. We struggle a lot on of the pitches. Even aiding sometimes was rough with like really hard gear. And, on some of the pitches, she was really scared, but she just went after it. And me, when I had to, for the first time, lead that like chicken wing off with move, I came under the roof and I was like, oh my God, this looks so scary. And maybe if I'd been with a man, I would have been like, hey, can you go? I don't think it's for me. But with her,
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, you know what? Like, I'm extremely scared right now, but I'm still gonna go. And I just went for it and, figure out the moves and did it and brought the rope up.
yeah.
So I think this is definitely special. And maybe this is why I'm, always actively trying to find more female partners to climb with and have all those amazing experiences and adventures with.
I think it's really important, and I think
Mm,
women with other women just feel maybe more comfortable. Like and like you say, they are much more willing to push themselves, and this is something I guess I notice a lot, even with like relationships where both people climb. the women
mm,
sometimes find it easy to kind of go, actually, do you know what? You take this pitch because it's their get out
mm,
clause.
mm.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
sometimes I think, yeah, no, it's really interesting. And I had another friend last weekend who came to just watch me climb with another friend, and I was explaining him what I'm trying to be as a partner, as a climbing partner. And for instance, so my girlfriend who was climbing there, on one route, she had done like three-quarters of the route, and suddenly she came at a rest, and she was at the rest, and she was like standing, and she was like, no, just take me. I don't know how to rest. I'm like, hey, no, girl, like you got this. Take the time. I'm sure you can find a position. You've climbed three-quarters of it. Like I knew she could do it. And I
Yeah,
think she just had a small moment of fear and doubt. And she suddenly found a foothold and could rest. And then after that, she crushed the crux and sent the route. But she said take. And it's a moment where it's like, hey, you're so safe. The quick jaw's right there. Don't take yet. Just try
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
type a
yeah.
bit more. So I could see that this was a just small moment of doubt and she needed help in that moment. And then I think 2 hours later, she was extremely cold. She went on that other pitch and I could see she was really struggling emotionally. She was not doing well. She was just really cold and like not feeling it. And she said, hey, just take, I want to go down. And I immediately like lowered her down. I didn't say, hey, try one more time, like
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
going.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
could feel this was not the moment to push and she was not feeling well. So I think to try to be a better climbing partner, just analyzing what's going on and when to maybe like help your partner push themselves a little bit when maybe they don't have it in them or they have this like tiny self-doubt or when no, you can see your partner struggling, they're not doing well, and it's not the moment to push them because that's when if you push them too much when they're already at the boundary and it's too much for them, that's when they might resent you to push them even above the red line that they've
Yeah,
already
yeah, yeah, yeah,
crossed a
yeah.
long time
You
ago.
push them into a traumatic experience, and they may never climb
And it's
again.
not cool.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
it's
it,
not
but
it's not great. But
but
it's
it's a,
not easy to see. It's
it's
not
a,
easy to see.
no, no. It's a fine balance, isn't it? You need some kind of emotional intelligence to be able to,
Hmm.
and a good understanding of your partner to be able to see that in another human being.
Yeah.
Like where is that
Mm,
line? How far can I encourage them to do more
mm,
than what they think they can? And
mm.
where is it, where does trauma start?
Yeah. No,
And
100%. And it was not easy. So it was cool to talk about it and just reflect on it and, compare those two different situations where my friend was like, oh, yeah, I could see on this one moment the fact that you encourage her, help her do the route, and that, 2 hours later, you just immediately took her down, did not even say, hey, maybe try one more time. I was just like, oh, I'm bringing you down and I know you're down and I can just see it
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
feel
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. But it's funny, isn't it, how when fear kicks in, that our peripheral vision we become so short-sighted, and
Oh, yes.
we see just almost nothing. It's like
Mm.
the way I describe it is like, when you get the empty toilet rolls, you're just kind of looking through those.
Yeah, and suddenly you don't see the feet, you don't see the hands around you. Maybe there's one jug 20 centimeters away, but you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
it's it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's your relationship like with fear? How come, I guess you must have experienced a lot of fear doing some of the things you do, and but what's your relationship like? None of that seems to have put you off climbing.
Yeah, I think for me, fear for my project that I'm choosing is a great indication on is it gonna teach me something and maybe take me out of my comfort zone. So usually all the hardest climbs I've done have all like scared me one way or another. And I was like, okay, this scares me and this seems maybe a little impossible right now. So maybe this is the right project for me. Like Wet Like Granite Man, no woman had done this. I had been on the climb 2 years prior to this, and I was extremely scared. And the first time I climbed on like on the Leaning Tower, which is the wall of Wet Like Granite Mare, I was so intimidated by how overhanging the wall was. I remember being so uncomfortable. And so I wanted to see, okay, am I going to be more comfortable now with all the big wall experience I have? Can I maybe put all the knowledge I have about crack climbing, about big wall tactics to this wall and see if I can, pull it together and stand the whole multi-pitch? So I really enjoy the fear in some ways, and there's sometimes where, fear becomes too much. And that's when I know, like, oh, I don't want to be scared anymore. I want to go back to sport climbing or to indoor training. And
Yeah.
I need a break from that because it's too much. And for instance, during the 100 multi-pitches, we had so many moments during those 43 days where we got scared because of we had like some days where we had 100 km/h wind, and we
Wow.
had to climb those multi pitches on those days. There was no other choice, and we couldn't just choose the better crack because when you do a normal climbing day, you can just avoid the wind, but when you have an objective and some routes to do, we were just full on facing the wind, and it was horrible, and we got scared so many times. And so for 28 days I faced a lot of fears. I was okay with it. I could handle it. I still had enough mental energy for it. And by the end, around day 30, that's when I think my head was like, okay, no more. I don't want to be scared. It's getting too much. I don't have the energy for it. I'm getting too tired. And so, sometimes that's when you feel it's too much. And that's when I was really open with my partner, Elsa. And I told her, hey, right now I'm feeling exhausted. I'm really close to getting injured. I can just feel it in my body. I can feel it in my fingers, like not doing well. And that's when she really stepped up and was the leading partner, of the whole team in those moments. But because,
Yeah.
I really opened up myself to her and said, hey, not doing well right now. I really need your help. Otherwise, I might not finish this
Yeah. Yeah.
project. And it's not, yeah, definitely not easy. And I really thought I was going to have to stop it because, we adapted the project, did some easier multi pitches, adapted that. Then I was able to finish.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so I guess when you experience fear for a prolonged period of time, um, you're gonna like it's gonna be emotionally really really tiring, and then the body needs time to recover from that because otherwise
Mm.
you're just gonna lose all your psyche or you're gonna make bad judgments.
Yeah, definitely also that. And I've learned, and now, just today I realized, oh, it's been 9 years that I've been climbing, so it's definitely getting, a bit of a long time too. And I've learned that, motivation comes in waves too. It's not
Yeah,
gonna be super high. Like it's, sometimes you're gonna be super motivated by a goal. Like for the Triple Crown, I was beast training mode. I was so psyched, so motivated. That's all I could think about, and never been more motivated in my life. And then after the Wet Like Granite Main project, that's the moment where I was like, oh, I don't want any projects. I don't want to do anything hard. And I've had a moment of like, it was hard for me to try hard on climbs or single pitch sport climb. I felt like, oh damn, I don't have this like, this fight for the routes anymore, and I don't feel like fighting. I was like, oh, you know what? I think it's totally okay. And I think it means that I need to chill out for a second, climb easier things. Cause me, I enjoy climbing, climbing a 6A or 7A or an 8A. I feel as much pleasure on those, three different routes. I just love the movements of climbing. For me, it doesn't really matter the grade I'm climbing. But then sometimes I really love to, push myself, try some hard moves and see if I can have the focus from the ground all the way to the chains to do all those moves without falling. I really enjoy that flow that you fall into when you do that.
yeah.
But then I learned that sometimes it's okay not to be the most motivated, and you just maybe need to wait for the next project to appear and one that will really get you motivated too. So it's totally okay to feel that as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how do you deal with intense fear in the moment when you feel that you're redlining?
Mm. Sometimes I think sometimes it's important to know on certain days when to push it and when not to push it. So me, I know that the days where I don't sleep well, maybe I didn't drink or ate enough the day before, the next day I'm not going to feel well. And so some days I feel like, wow, today I have a lot of energy. I think I can push myself and maybe go into some, difficult situation or difficult climb where I might be scared, but it's okay. I have the energy to handle this. And some other days I know that suddenly I go on the climb. It could just be a sport climb, but on Wet Like Granite Mare, the crux pitch was a sport climb, but it was still really high up from the ground. And me, I'm someone who's scared of the exposure. It's not the easiest for me, even though the bolt is right there. It's still not easy for me to let go and fall. And some days I was like, okay, today is not the day for me to push it. I feel way more scared than usual. And that's when I know, okay, maybe rehearse some moves, but don't go overboard because today is the day that if you push it too much, you could get injured. And I think listening to your fears is great for, managing injuries as well, because it's a great sign that, today, maybe your body doesn't feel like it. Maybe your mind doesn't feel like it either. So maybe it's a good day to not push it. And on some days where your head is amazing, your body feels great, that's a good day to maybe try something harder than usual.
Yeah, but I guess when you listen to your fears, sometimes it's understanding and being able to distinguish what is a real fear and maybe what is some normal
Mm,
anxiety that just creeps in before you start a project.
mm. Yeah, definitely too. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because I think everyone experiences that those butterflies and that kind
Mm,
of anxiety that you have before you start something because you care about it, you've
mm,
invested your time into it. Um,
mm.
or even you're trying something that you've never climbed before and it's
Yeah.
the unknown, right?
Yeah. No, 100%. It
Yeah.
definitely is. And yeah, and there's definitely, me, I have a lot of, I think it's also good to differentiate what is a rational fear and what is irrational,
Yeah.
because me, I feel a lot of irrational fears.
Yeah.
Fears where I'm in a very safe situations, there's no ledge under me, I have a good belayer, I could fall anywhere, everything would be fine. It's just in my head. And I think also the fact of suddenly losing control and, taking a big fall, that definitely scares me. And I've never liked the feeling of falling in your stomach. That's something I really don't like, and I've always disliked this. So it's not something, new for me. I've done some swings when I was younger and, in some like tree parks and all of that, and I've never really liked that feeling. So it's not new to climbing. Like I've always had that. And I think some people like this feeling more or less. So me, I just have to fight with a lot of irrational fears. And sometimes it's very rational. It could be a ledge under me. It could be that suddenly the gear when you're climbing cracks, it's not getting good, or there's huge blocks around you. And when you get scared, then like, oh yeah, there's potentially like a very scary situation right now. So let's just
Yeah.
decide on, do I really want to, go higher up, or is it the moment to go down and bail because it's too dangerous?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to know when, it's irrational and you just maybe need to keep pushing yourself a little bit, or when it's a rational one because there's a dangerous situation in front of you.
Yeah, but it's really hard in the moment when you feel really
Mm,
scared. It's sometimes really hard in the moment to be able to distinguish what is a rational and what is an irrational
mm.
fear because the feeling is the same.
Yeah. No, it's 100% the same. And I think me, I already prepare myself before I start climbing. You
Yeah,
look at the route, the environment, you've analyzed it. If you're at the sport climbing crack, you've seen, okay, what's above the crack? Like, who are the people around me? What's the crack looks like? How are the bolts? Do they look good? Is it like new bolts? Like, is there a good anchor? So you can already analyze, am I climbing on a safe route? And so from the moment you're going to feel this fear, then you're going to feel like, okay, am I willing to push it a little bit or not? But you know that you're not risking anything. You have a good belayer. Or, when you read, for instance, for the US Mountain Project and a description of a route and it says R rated or X rated, then you can already anticipate, the risks that you're going to have to face and
yeah,
already make a decision before climbing it on, am I willing to climb this climb today and maybe risk that or not? So I
yeah,
think there's some ways to already make some decision before you start climbing on, am I willing to take this risk or not?
yeah. So do you have a method where you build confidence in, for example, falling, whether that's sport climbing or whether that's trad climbing, to build confidence in yourself to kind of remind you that actually, yeah, this is okay.
I think practicing falling when you warm up is really important, and I do that a lot. And sometimes when I'm warming up and I'm above the boat and I'm scared, sometimes just like to tell my body, hey, we're safe, I'm gonna tell my belayer, hey, I'm gonna take the fall because I feel too scared and I just need to take it. So
Yeah,
sometimes you just have to face that fear, like face to face, and be like, here I am, it's right here. Let's just
yeah.
take it. And usually when I take one or two falls, then I'm like, okay, I feel way more comfortable. And the thing with me and all the travels I do too, like for instance, I climb with a lot of like new people, and sometimes like you don't know if they're like good belayers, and it's not
Yeah,
like you're gonna see them belay other people, so it's hard
yeah,
to say that. So usually from the first fall, I can feel and know, do they know how to belay dynamically? Like, was I safe on this fall? And
yeah,
if they belay me really well and I felt safe, usually then my fear is way less and I can push myself way better. Like I
yeah,
had this last weekend with a new partner, a guy whose name was Joao, and he was really amazing, super nice. And then I took this first, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 meter fall, and he belayed me amazingly well. And I told him, wow, that was an amazing belay. Thank you so much. And then I could really feel like I could push my limits and I was way less scared.
Yeah.
after taking this first fall. And so I think, climbing with belayers, will help a lot. Or if you
Yeah.
climb with new people, from the first one or two first falls, you can tell if you can trust them or not.
Yeah. So like my experience is that I had a bad belay quite a long time ago, who dropped
Mm.
me in the space of I think 3 or 4 months, 3 times from really high to just above the floor.
Ah,
And
wow.
I ended up with a fear of falling. So I worked on it for
Mm.
quite a while, and now that
Yeah.
I say healed, it's never really healed because like it's always a work in progress, and sometimes it takes a couple of
Mm.
falls, and sometimes it takes a little bit more, depending on how
Yeah.
much time that I am climbing or not. Um,
Mm.
but when it
Yes.
comes to new B layers, I will not
Mm.
climb with a new belay unless I've seen them belay. Although,
Mm.
if I can watch them handle a rope and I see how they move, then that usually gives me the confidence to be able to see whether they know what they're doing.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
I watch really carefully without actually making them feel that I'm watching.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
really like this too. I think and the other day, 2 days ago, I climbed with a Brazilian woman at this gym. And the first time I climbed with her, she short roped me a little bit when I was clipping draws. I was like, can I trust her? Like, not trust her. And then that first fall you take with someone new, you're like, oh boy, here we go. I was climbing overhang. So I was like, okay, I'm not climbing vertical slabs. So, it should be fine. And she believed me really well. So I was like, okay, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
I'm safe with her. And I could feel like the first few times it's like, I'm also clipping really fast. I'm a really fast clipper. So you need to give the time to the person to adapt. Maybe she's climbing with people who are not climbing this fast and not grabbing the rope this fast. So
Yeah.
it takes a moment. And by the second and third climb, she was not short roping me and giving me enough rope. So
Yeah.
this was much better. And she realized it. She was like, oh, is it better now? Like the rope handles and everything. But it's always, first time you climb with someone new, and I don't have a lot of partners or people I know, and it's this Joelle person who said, hey, you should climb with her. She's really nice.
Yeah.
And she was a really good belayer at the end. But it's like I'm still not gonna, take risk and climb really easy routes at the beginning and kind of test them and see what's happening as well. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go climb a hard multi-pitch with someone I've never climbed with.
Yeah.
So usually it's always nice to like, and it's not always easy to see, like when you climb with someone new, to see them belay someone else because you only the two of you, or maybe you four and there's another group belaying over there. So sometimes me, I would ask them, oh, how do you give slag? So they show me how they do it with the gree and I see, do they still like hang on to the rope with their right hand or
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would I
Yeah.
would ask this, and if I see handling right, then I'm like, okay, cool, they know what they're doing. I'm fine. And if I see they don't have the right hand on the other end of the rope, I'm like, hey, that's not how you belay with a gree. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
okay. And then I take the time to teach them and to say, hey, I think you really need to learn this way because that's the safest way. And
Yeah.
most people are really open to this. And I know I'm gonna get short rope during the first four climbs, but I'd rather them learning the right way to belay than
Yeah.
suddenly they just drop me and I fall 20 meters.
Yeah, see, that's where, like, if somebody's roping me, then I already feel uncomfortable, and yeah.
Yeah,
But I
I
guess
know.
that's because I've had a bad experience.
Yeah,
And I will not go climbing with anyone I feel uncomfortable with, and if I don't
yeah.
know, I'm just like, that's not going to happen. Yeah,
It's okay. I'm gonna
yeah,
go bouldering.
yeah,
It's better.
yeah.
It's
I
totally
mean,
okay. Let's
yeah.
go bouldering.
I've got a couple of friends who I
Oh,
will not ask them to belay me. Yeah, just because.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because their belaying is just pretty shoddy. Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
know. I've had this one friend. What I'm really scared of is old school climbers. I think old school climbers are the worst with belaying, and they do not want to learn the right way to belay. And I'm just like, why are you guys so dumb?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Usually
yeah,
it's like I'm like, like Pezzo or all the other brands are just showing you the right way to belay, and it's on their
yeah,
website, and you
yeah,
don't want to learn the new way. And so I have this amazing friend. He's amazing, and he's an amazing climber, but he belays the old school way and it's not safe.
Yeah.
And he's had an accident 2 or 3 years ago because those guys were light belaying, and not being careful on the second to third bolt when you can go back to the ground, and he hit his heel and got a bad injury from it. I'm like, yeah, because you guys belay like lightly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think it's I heard Tommy Caldwell talk about this in an interview for Adele Reed recently, and he was saying that climbers don't like a lot of climbers don't take belaying like seriously enough. And when you belay,
Yeah.
you really do have someone else's life in your hands. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like it's a pretty important job. Like
Yeah.
it's not just going to buy groceries or play card like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a card game with your friend. Like you have their lives in your hands. Like double checking them, checking the knot, checking the grid.
Yeah.
Like me, I check my knot maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
rather recheck it and always check my partner regardless.
Yeah.
Always have a knot at the end of the rope
Yeah.
and wear belay glasses and just watch my partner from the moment they leave the ground to the last moment and tell them, hey, I'm with you the whole time. And if you make a mistake on the wall and anything happens, like I'm going to see it and tell you. And I'm really with you the whole time you're climbing. And me, when I feel like partners are this way with me, I'm like, oh, we can go to the other side of the world and we can climb anything you want. And I feel so comfortable with those
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. And I think like people are too relaxed. Like climbing is
Yeah.
so belaying is such a skill. Just because you've attended a course doesn't mean that you can belay. It means that you can
Yeah.
stop someone from dying. When
Yeah.
you really know how to belay, the only way to be is to pay attention to your climber at all times because you need to know
Mm,
what's going on because you can read their body language. You can see whether they're stressed.
mm,
You can see whether they need rope. And the only way to do that is by watching them the whole time
yeah. No, 100%.
and paying attention, making sure, do you need more slack? Does like calculating, do they need more slack? Do they need to fall below an
Mm,
obstacle? Do they need to stay above an obstacle? Like you're constantly
yeah.
calculating and working with them.
Mm, yeah, no, no. And you can feel when a belayer is this way and a belayer is just belaying lightly and then talking to other people. So recently,
Yeah.
last weekend, I talked to Joao. I was getting into the crux and I could just hear him talk to other people. And nicely, I said, hey, Joao, can you just please stop talking? Because I
Yeah.
was like, hey, when I'm in a crux and I hear my belayer talking, then suddenly I think of my belayer when I should think of the next crimp I'm going to be grabbing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
told
yeah.
him, and I
Yeah.
told him there's some situations where, and he was wearing belay glasses. I know he was with me and watching me, but there's always, I think when you talk to someone else, there's always a level of focus that you're losing because and especially men doing two things at the same time. I don't know about that,
No,
and I
doesn't
don't think
work. No.
that's the safest thing, especially at this moment.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like I know he was with me, but you're still somehow getting distracted by another conversation, and I couldn't tell what they were talking about. But I'm like, sometimes I don't mind when my belay is talking on a warm up, and I'm really comfortable, and I know he's watching me, and I'm fine. But in this moment, I was getting in the crux section, and I'm like, all I could think about was him. So I was like, hey, Joao, like, can you please like stop talking for a second? And then he did it, and I said it really nicely to him. And I came down. I was like, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't say I'm sorry. I said that, but I said, oh, I'm sorry. No, I probably said I'm sorry because we say it too much. But I said that was a bit distracting for me because
Yeah.
I was in the crux and all I could like hear was you talking and I couldn't focus on the climb. So, it's just a matter of knowing what your partner needs in the moment. And
Yeah.
sometimes I don't mind like my belayer talking on easy climbs, but this time, and that's why it's good to communicate it because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just say to him, hey, can you just please stop talking? And he just stopped right away and everything was perfectly fine.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think like just going back to what you were saying earlier is you're trying to create the best environment for you as the climber and to have that open channel of communication to say to your belayer, this is what I like, these are the conditions I like,
Mm,
and this helps me. And
yes. Mm,
talking's one of them. And I have people that I climb with who don't want me to talk, and I won't. I'll just be quiet. And they don't want me to talk to anybody else because for them it's distracting.
yeah, yeah.
They want to
Fully
know
understand that.
I'm paying attention. And maybe on the
Mm,
crux move, they just want me to hear when they're physically struggling or emotionally struggling. They
yeah.
just want to hear that I'm there with them, paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
And it's
mm.
the
And I think
words,
it's always good.
sorry.
No, no, go first.
So the words we use as well can have a different effect. something like "I'm
Mm,
with you," uh,
mm,
kind of as the climber, you hear that they're with you. Sometimes saying things like "Come on, you can do this," feels like additional pressure, but that's different for different
mm.
people. So it's
Yeah.
understanding the effects of the words as well.
And I think also, okay, that's one thing. And also knowing, I think some people are really bad at this, knowing when to encourage someone. Someone, I've been to crags where, I'm projecting this hard route and then I'm climbing on it, but I'm not making any noise. I'm doing really well on it. I'm like, in a really good flow. And suddenly you have this like one guy, I have this like one example in my hand that happened where one guy is like, come on, Laura, like, come on, so intense. And I'm like, man, I don't need this right now. Like I'm chilling, I know the
Yeah,
moves, like I'm in a really good flow. I don't need someone screaming at me right now. I think some encouragement really helps me when I'm starting to scream and I'm really at my limit and having
yeah,
someone giving you extra energy can really help. But it's really, knowing like watching the climber, you like watching and seeing how they're feeling. Cause me, when I see someone flowing up a route, I would never scream at them. I'm like, oh wow, like they handle it like perfectly well. They don't need me right now. They're all good to go. All they need sometimes is I'm with you or I'm watching you and that's
yeah, yeah,
it. And
yeah,
sometimes, for instance, me when I'm climbing and I get scared or I get in a tricky situation, I always like sometimes to say, hey, watch me, it's tricky here. And I think it's a nice little word for your partner to be like, okay, like here, it's an important moment. And maybe they don't see you depending on where you are on the wall too. It's always a nice, second warning for them to be like, hey, watch me here. I could fall at any moment too. But if you have a good belayer, you don't even need to tell them this because they could see, oh, you've stopped climbing for 10 minutes. You're looking around. You don't know what's
yeah.
going on. And you can feel like, it's probably a crux section here. Let's watch out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So what do you sound like when you're at your limit? Are you a silent climber or do you
No, I'm
no?
very loud. I scream a lot. I really scream a lot. And I don't know if it's because I did 7 years of tennis and I was screaming when I played tennis. It's maybe from this,
Okay.
but I really love to have a good fight and I scream a lot and I got a lot of like funny comments from guys because I scream. Because when you go in a gym, there's not many women who screams, but when guys screams, it's totally okay.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
try
yeah,
really
yeah,
hard,
yeah. Of
but
course.
when
Yeah.
you're a woman and you scream, a lot of people like made fun of me and joked about that. And I really do not care. And I kept screaming and it's totally fine because usually I can feel the difference when I scream. It's like, it's just so that I'm breathing out and it gives me
Yeah.
so much more power. I can
Yeah.
just feel the difference. And sometimes on some moves, if I don't scream, I'm not hanging on to the move or I cannot do it.
Yeah.
And it's really that I'm going like 120% and I'm really fighting through the pump or fighting through a really hard sequence. And these days, now that I've had a moment where, oh, I really kind of had lost like my fighting spirit and couldn't really do it. Now that I've like gone back to it and gone back to like better like on-sighting routes and stuff and screaming more, I'm like, oh, cool, it's back. I know that
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
back into it and feeling better. So I'm not a silent climber, but I've seen, for instance, I've climbed with a lot of strong women, and some of them are just amazing. You cannot tell when they're struggling. And it's
Okay.
some like climbers that have an amazing technique. And that, sometimes I was doing big endurance session with them, and you cannot just tell when they're gonna fall because they
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
scream, they don't look like they struggle, and the technique just doesn't go down. It just like stays the same. It's very consistent until the moment they fall, and you're like, why did you fall? You were just doing great. And she was like, no, I was pumped out of my mind. I couldn't hang on anymore. But you just can't see it. And me, you can totally see it. The whole body shakes. I'm screaming to death. Everyone thinks someone's getting murdered
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone can tell this is about to fall or I
Yeah.
need a good rest to recover from
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But it's cool to be able to, push the limits. And I really love this fighting moments where your forearms and your whole body tells you no, like you need to let go, you need to fall. And I'm like, no, one more move, one more, one more.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
really love that moment. I think it's a really cool fighting moment.
Yeah. It's a good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great one.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I've recently been injured for the last 7 weeks, and I've been really good at staying consistent climbing within my physical ability. And I think what are we? It's Wednesday today. So Monday session was my first session where I kind of forgot about my injury and I was climbing and climbing and just barely holding on and fighting and fighting and fighting. And I didn't get to the top, but I just love that feeling of that fight of just barely holding on and then doing another move and then doing another move and another move and then just about clipping. And I think for me, that's where that's the climbing I like the most.
I can really resonate with this. I really love this
Yeah.
too. And I think when you have an injury too, and you have those days and those moments when you don't think about it anymore, I think this is really good sign that you're almost out of it too. That's when you
Well,
know
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Fingers
almost gone
crossed.
and you're
Yes.
almost fully rehab too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah, yeah.
it's really good. And hopefully, it happens for everyone when you've rehabbed for so long and suddenly there's one day where you have no pain and then it's 3 days and then suddenly it's the whole week and then after a month you're like, oh, my pain is gone. I haven't thought 1 second about it. And
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
really good feeling.
yeah. But I'm quite loud as well, so I tend to scream a lot. But it's yeah, it's but I go through waves. Like some states, sometimes I do a lot of screaming, and sometimes I go quite silent.
Yeah.
So my climbing goes through waves.
I mean, me, sometimes it's like when I'm on sighting a route, my screams could be either I try hard and I'm pumped, or I'm really scared and I need to do one move and I'm just too scared and I'm gonna scream to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like a
yeah,
scared scream. It's
yeah,
it's the same kind of scream, but it could be a scream from fear. And that
yeah,
just gives me like enough tension to just do the moves.
yeah,
But me, the moments I love the most that I experienced again 2 days ago is when usually in like sport climbing gyms, like really people don't scream. And I don't think like I don't know if they don't try it hard enough or just a lot of people, just enjoy like chill climbing, especially maybe here in Brazil or I don't know what it is, but it was the same in the US sometimes. And then me, I get there and by pitch number 4 or 5, suddenly I'm on fighting mode and I start screaming and then everyone gets quiet because no one's used to hearing a scream in this gym. And for me, this is so funny because I hear the whole gym going quiet for 5 seconds. And
yeah.
I'm just like, well, I'm gonna keep fighting and climbing, that's what they're gonna get for 2 hours. And
Good.
I'm gonna keep doing it. And I'm not doing extra just to show off or anything. It's just really natural. And I'm just
Yeah,
really struggling on the climb. And I
yeah,
just really want to do the move and do a workout where I'm gonna push myself. So, but I've
yeah,
had some people before in France in the gym, for instance, like one woman one day she came to me and she was like, hey, like it's kind of really annoying, like can you stop screaming? And I was like, hey, like I'm doing a really hard training right now that really helps me. I'm not doing it on purpose to annoy anyone, so I'm gonna try to do it less, but also I'm doing a hard training, so
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
need that. But
And
she
it's
just
just
can't say that, and
yeah, and it just comes natural, right? It just comes like
yeah,
you have no control over it.
it's not planned.
No.
It's not planned, not at all. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just comes out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, but something that I find interesting. So, as a climbing instructor and coach, obviously I watch so many climbers, and when you watch climbers, how many climbers actually climb to their limit? A lot of times, me included, at times,
Mm,
I would like I see a lot of people, they let go. They don't try, they let go. They're either experiencing a moment of doubt, they're really tired, they're unsure
mm,
whether they can make the next move, or something goes on and they just let go. So how many
mm.
people are actually climbing at their limit? Because that's a
Not
skill.
many.
That's a real skill.
Yeah, yeah, not many. And I think your brain, and I think it's also like something in your brain that your whole body, when you get pumped, suddenly you experience this like intense pain that your whole body tells you you need to let go right now. But I think if you mentally can train that and just push, two more moves, like
Yeah.
one more move, or hang on 5 more seconds, then you can go so much further too and can be so much stronger and handle, the pump and the pain so much longer. And I think me, I've over the years really enjoy training that a lot and really enjoy doing. And I think I've learned that by doing really big endurance sessions when you do like doubles on routes, either it's 5:10, 5:11, 5:12. By the second round you can really feel it, and sometimes you're doing a clip and I'm screaming clipping because I could let go at any moment even when I clip. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
training this fighting spirit when you're like pumped
Yeah.
out of your mind, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
something I love so much, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you love it too.
Yeah. But it's a skill, right? It's something that takes
Yeah,
a lot of practice,
yeah,
and you need to be able to spend the time doing it, and you need to be
yeah.
able to come down from your climbing session or your climb and be honest with yourself and reflect and kind of
Mm,
think, well, did I give it everything I had, or did I let go?
mm,
And be able to kind
yeah.
of own that and kind of say, okay, well, I could have given it more. Maybe next time I'll do one more move.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. And sometimes I come down from climbs and I'm like, here I've given up. Either
Yeah.
I was scared of falling or I said take, and I was like, yeah, here it's really the fear that stopped me really trying to not find excuses and be like, oh, that's really what happened. And I think I had more in the tank and I
Yeah.
didn't go to 100% and I stopped at 95 for sure.
Exactly. I
Mm,
did a climb on Monday and got to the two moves before the chains, and I let go, and I got down, and I was disappointed. I was like, I let go. I didn't
mm,
try. I went up, got wrong-handed,
yeah.
came down. I was really pumped, but I didn't try again. I just let go.
Mm,
And then I said to my
yeah.
friend, I was like, actually, he was like, "Oh, that was great. That was a great effort." And I'm like, "No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I could have done more." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And on another
Mm.
climb, yeah, I just gave it everything I had, and yeah, I was absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, yeah, because sometimes I think if you've given 110% and you don't do it, but you come down, be like, damn, that was such a good go. I have so
Yeah.
many of those goes where I'm like, I gave all I could give. Maybe you've made some mistakes along the way. You're like, okay, here, maybe, I grid too much, or here I made that one mistake that cost me some energy. But by the end, I really went to the max, gave it everything I could. And then it's a really proud attempt, or you couldn't have given more. And I think those attempts are really, really precious, and it's cool to recognize this as well.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Yeah, right. Two more questions, and then I'll let you go.
Yes.
So, what is your when it comes to the mental side of climbing? What is your strength?
Mm. I think my perseverance.
Okay.
I think it's, yeah, one of my biggest qualities is that when I want to do something, I'm not going to let it go until I do it. Either it's a professional goal, like making the Queen Swing was one of the hardest professional projects I've had, to make a movie with no sponsors and to make a movie about one of the hardest climbs of my life too, or a climbing goal like Wet Like a Nightmare. It took me 2 months, and at the beginning couldn't do the V9 boulder problem. The 13D was too hard for me. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do it, but I'm really psyched on this. So I'm going to keep training hard, working hard, going up there, practicing the moves until at some point I feel like I'm getting close and I have a shot at doing it and going to give it everything I have. And so I think perseverance is my biggest skills in general, or my
Okay.
biggest quality. And that helps me a lot with climbing.
Okay.
But sometimes not easy, because when you have this quality, it can also become like stubbornness, at some point too. It's like there's a fine line too. It's a really good
Yeah.
quality too, but like, with some things, for something that's maybe not meant for you, or maybe something that you trying to push, but then life keeps telling, no, it's not for you, it's not your path, so it's good to know when maybe it's stubbornness and maybe when it's perseverance, because perseverance is great, but then stubbornness is not great, especially when life keeps sending you messages that this is not your path. You shouldn't go there. Stop pushing
Yeah.
against doors that should not be opening to. So
Yeah.
it's good to keep those two in mind and understand the difference of both.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
I think I suffer from both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those two are important to differentiate and to be aware of. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to do, it's not always easy, but I'm definitely trying to keep that in mind.
Yeah. My wife will definitely
Because I can
agree.
be very stubborn too.
Yeah. My wife will definitely agree with the
Yeah.
stubborn. Yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
know.
yeah. And what's kind of what mental skills do you feel do you have to work on?
What mental skills? I think the one I'll never have to stop working for climbing is this fear of falling for me
Yeah.
mentally, and to always. And I think it's a for life skill that I have to train. It's not something that if you train it for 3 months, this fear is going to be gone and mentally you'll be amazing in
Yeah.
climbing. It's something that constantly, when you won't be practicing falling and you won't be outside taking big falls and climbing on gear, this will always come back at you straight in the face. So I've already, come in peace with the fact that I always be scared of falling and I always have to practice falling, and it's going to be a lifetime of facing this fear. And it's always, by the time you've done maybe 20 years of climbing, you know yourself so much better, and maybe it's easier to get back into the routine of fear of falling and you know yourself even better. But I think it's going to be a lifetime training to face this fear, and hopefully, if I can help other people face this fear too and understand how it all works and understand how they can practice falling and face it better, I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, you should read my book. Yeah, that might help.
I will. Maybe what's the name of it? Maybe I
Uh,
have.
it's called Climbing Psychology.
I'm not
They,
sure, but yeah, you know what?
so Catherine Destival, she translated it into French, and that's available in France.
Okay. I should be able to read it in English. I
Oh
hope I
yeah,
should.
yeah. I mean, you
Yeah, I'd
studied in the
love to.
USA, right?
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think I should be fine to read it in English
yeah,
too,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah,
great. But yeah, I'll probably order it on my Kindle. It's available online, and read it too. I think it would be really interesting for me to learn it.
yeah,
One of the book that really transformed me the most, and I think the way I approach climbing, was The Warrior's Way
yeah.
too, by the American,
Arno
what's his name
Ilgner,
again?
Arno
Yeah,
Ilgner. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm sure you've heard, yeah, of him. And his
yeah,
book really changed the way I view climbing. And I read it when I was 20 or 21. And that really changed my whole perspective on climbing. And that was a big, big switch in my life in terms of like fear of climbing, fear of falling, how I approach a climb. Because I think I was really focused on just standing a climb, and that all that mattered to me. And after reading this book, I was like, well, I could see every climb as a learning experience and something. It's like, oh, what did I learn on this go, and how can I maybe make it better the next go, and reflect on the whole climbing thing. And that really really changed me as a climber.
yeah, yeah. I think it's incredible because I guess something that I would have mentioned to you before I even talked to you is that you have the
mm,
incredible ability to learn and to reflect on things and to kind
mm,
of soak up information and kind of go, okay, how can I
mm,
progress from here?
yes.
Yeah. And the fear of falling, like does it take a lifetime? What it takes is lots and lots and lots of positive experiences, meaning the more
Yeah.
positive experiences you put inside your bank, the easier it
mm,
becomes, and the less time you have to spend putting that more positive experiences into that bank.
mm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see the next 10 years. Hopefully more positive experience with amazing belayers.
Yeah, good,
That's
good.
my only wish.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for the great talk. It was a pleasure, and hopefully, people will enjoy listening to all of this.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I hope you enjoyed the podcast with Laura. It was great to chat to her. She's super, super nice, very open person. I had a great chat with her. Could have talked so much more with her, but had to let her go. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, it's currently 36 degrees, probably more like 40 degrees in the shed that I'm recording this podcast in. And I'm absolutely dripping sweat. So my mind started to wander. So I had to cut it maybe a bit shorter than what I usually would. If you guys have any suggestions on topics you'd like us to cover or people you'd like us to interview, please feel free to contact us on social media or send us an email, and we'll see you next time.